getting questions on from some of our users.
Okay.
Let's talk about this. I'm also recording this for some of our users who asked us, they couldn't make it to this, so they wanted us to make a recording of this. So I'm recording it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, we have a number of new users who have just joined DriveWare, and they're coming from different systems. And when I say different systems, it doesn't necessarily mean another program. It could be another program, but some of those systems are things that are as simple as pen and paper, or using a whiteboard, using Google Maps, Google Calendar, whatever it may be. If you're coming from, we've had a number of people converted from some of our competitors, and the major problem they have is actually using DriveWare, putting it to use, and it's like you ask yourself the question, well, why should we switch? Well, there's obviously things that either your system is outdated, or maybe it doesn't have the features that you want, and things you could see here in front of you, and if you can't, go ahead and please zoom in with the GoToMeeting tools right there. DriveWare is obviously cloud-based, so you can access the program from anywhere. We have the vehicle maintenance program that's integrated. It helps you stay in compliance. We have, some features are going to be in other programs. Some of them may not, such as your fuel tax reporting. We have credit card processing, which Jay is going to go over, and he'll talk about Alavon and Authorize.net. We've got digital signature, which we have a couple people using, but that's coming up, and I think in the next couple of months and years, that's going to be a very popular tool. We've got the different quote requests that you can look at. We have driver logins from the web portal. We have scheduled emails. So there's a lot going on, and here's the thing. You're busy. You were looking for a tool that was going to simplify things for you, but you have to use the program. So first of all, you want to make sure that the program is set up properly. You want to start actively entering orders, because that is going to actually give you practice. It's going to help you to get familiar with the program. If you're a smaller company, if you're an owner operator, you're already doing a lot. If you're a manager, you're busy. You're making sure that everything's getting scheduled and dispatched, that salespeople are following up with quotes. You're looking at reports. You're busy. So we've just plopped something else on your plate, and you have to take the time to become familiar with it. So even if you're just taking, we recommend always to do a few training sessions with us. That's going to get you into the program. It's going to help you become familiar with things. It gives you the opportunity to ask questions, but of course it's hands-on. So we really recommend just start entering orders, even if they're older orders from your old system. Just go ahead and start copying them into DriveWare. And the other things is that, so it takes a little bit of time. So what we do is we recommend that you set a date that you're going to fully convert to DriveWare. You may run parallel for a little while. Maybe that's a week, maybe that's a month, but make that decision and help your employees make that decision. Make it for them. Let them know this is the date that we're going to switch to DriveWare, and help them. Give them our number, give them our email address. So that way, there's no fear. It's just, let them know, and that you can call us and bug the heck out of us. We expect that. We know you're a new user. We want you to feel comfortable with the program. These are questions that come up all the time in any new system. So whether you're coming from pen and paper or you're coming from uh, one of our competitor systems, uh, even just what I've gone over, it sounds like a lot. But if you just take it, break it down into small steps, you won't be overwhelmed by it. And the more you use it, once you become familiar with the basics, then use those tools that are going to help you save time, such as scheduled emails, drivers notifications. Those are things that are going to save you minutes, and over the course of a week and months, that's going to save you hours. So just an encouragement to all of you out there. I know that some of you couldn't make it today, but just be encouraged that it's not an overwhelming thing. Take it in small steps, and please get in touch with us. Email us your questions, call us, use the videos. We have tv.driveware.com, and Jay and I we're adding new videos with the new features and updating some of the older videos, and we're here to help.
Yes, thank you, Anthony. And as a current user, like Soldier Express, we have Fabulous, Sundance. Uh, uh, we have attendees that have been using DriveWare for sometimes many years, and we have some as many as 15 years, 16 years. Even for existing users, the um, the the question you have to ask is that how can I use a DriveWare to save me more time and more money? That it's all about cost benefit. It's about we're using a tool and it has all these features, but either you don't have time to learn it because you're busy and it's hard to implement all of these features at one time. Like for example, if you are using the basic order entry system, but you haven't implemented the vehicle maintenance, maybe you should take a month and just spend a few hours every week and implement the vehicle maintenance. The users that we have using this module tell us that when they got audited, they were able to produce everything in a uh, quick time, less amount of time, and the inspector was very happy. In one case, the inspector gave them 100%, something that he said he's never given to any operator. So implementing one feature at a time, because you get overwhelmed if you want to implement the vehicle maintenance and at the same time you want to implement credit card processing with Elavon, or if you want to implement the digital signature. If you want to implement all of these features at one time, it's overwhelming. But you can start by maybe we can send you this document and you can look at this list and see which one of these items you're using and which one is going to benefit you right away that you want to maybe work on next. And so you start implementing those items one at a time. We find that if you try to do, okay, I want to get the customer feedback, and then I want to get the automated reminders, and I want to get the customer quotes all at the same time, it's too much for any company because you have existing work orders that you have to take care of, and you have customers to take care of, you have customer service issues. So I would say pick one of these items that you feel that it's um, taking you a lot of time to do this task. For example, is the time card system, have you been using the time card system for your drivers? How much time are you spending with each driver, each pay period, about their paycheck? Will this save you more time? Or are you interested in implementing credit card processing with Elavon at 2%? How much are you paying now? And you will see that even if you just save 1% in credit card processing, that could be thousands of dollars a year that you could save, in fees alone. We are using this Elavon at 1.99% ourselves. We use it in house, and we use DriveWare to do our billing. And so we know that it saves money, and that's why we wrote the integration, the API that lets us connect to their system and process credit cards without having a gateway fee, without having an additional gateway charge. It's just 1.99% and the $5 a month statement fee. So let's go into talk about some of the new features that we have just finished and we've just released. For example, in um, the new version, you'll see a new drop down here that is going to give you more options for printing. Why did we do this? Why did we change the format of this? Because you used to be able to go in there and just select from three options, print the quote or the contract, and then or print the driver's trip sheet. We added several new options because we wanted to reduce the number of clicks for you to generate quotes and contracts and be able to get them to your customer quickly without having to go through all these different windows. There were too many windows, too many clicks, and so we gave you we're giving you options with print options. We call it the print option. So that with this you can change the contract terms. But we were getting a lot of calls from our customers say, well, I don't need to change my report parameters each time. I don't want to have to go through this. I don't want to see this page, So we added a quick print, which remembers your last options. Now, quick print basically gives you the um, the same report, but without the report parameters. So from here, you can go ahead and either print it to your printer or email it. Okay. So it makes it that quick. Also here, if I go to, it also remembers my last choice. So I don't need to go and use the drop down each time to change it. That's two less clicks because you used to have to go and click and then choose the option and then click. Now you just go, as soon as you go to that browse now, it remembers that you prefer quick print. So now you're in the print mode and you can either print this or email it to your customer from here. Okay. Now, if you don't print contracts, because it's getting to a point where you don't need to print anymore. You can actually just highlight an order and say, I always email, I don't print anything anymore. So you can just say, leave it at email and go ahead and get to the email page immediately. So you notice that it created the document for the contract, and now I can go ahead and select one of these templates, and it adds my email content here, and it puts the customer's first name automatically, and I just click send. So it sends it without printing. So now the next time I go there, it remembers that I like to always email my contracts and I don't like printing. So I just click this button, one more click, and I'm done. I'm in that screen where I need to send my emails. I think for this option, we've actually saved at least 4 clicks. That's 4 clicks less than the previous version because you're right into the window where now you can send it. Okay. So as soon as so now I should be receiving the contract. There's the contract. Okay. The one I just sent. Okay. And of course it has the hi Mark, thank you. Okay. All right. So that's the main advantage for using the quick print and the new style of printing or emailing. Of course, you can still do your driver's trip sheet from here. So it's all about saving time, less clicks. So that's what we're working on. Is we're trying to make it easier for you. The next feature that we added, I think not a lot of you, but some of you would benefit from, because if you're saving credit card information, one of the main issues has always been the security. Is my credit card um, encrypted? Is it safe? So now you can, with our system, you basically put in the credit card number, and you can save the credit card. And notice that it only displays the last 4 digits. So when you go to apply a payment for this customer, okay, you go to payment. Let's find an invoice that has a balance. This one. So you notice that if I select credit card payment, I can select from the drop down and process that credit card payment right from here. Now, you notice that in the previous version, we only had the option for authorized.net. Now you see the new option for Elavon. Okay, so if you select that card, basically you can then click process payment and get an approval code immediately. Okay, and you can process the payment and mark this invoice as paid in one step. So here, credit card, we can say pay in full or partial pay. Let's just say it's partial pay. And we'll select the card. And if I click this now, most likely it's going to say that the card number is invalid. Okay. So that's the new feature for credit card encryption. It's using the Microsoft. It's supported by Microsoft AEC. That's the encryption technology that we're using. It's a strong, uh, secure, with a longer key. So it's encrypted with a very, very powerful key and additional algorithm. That's what it's doing. Okay, so once you save that, none of the staff members in your company will be able to see the credit card information, just the last 4 digits. So if you're talking to the customer and say, can I use your card that we have on file ending with this number, you'll be able to do that. And so we're working on this even more. More's coming in this area as far as integration with Elavon. So we'll let you know in the next meetings. Another feature that some of our customers are using is in the area of emailing and contracts for e-sign. So for example, if I'm working on this customer and say, for example, let's go to the one that we were using as an example, this Santa Ana one. So if I say that I want to email this, you notice that it has an option here for e-sign. Okay. Now, this is an optional module. Of course, it's not something that is included with your basic subscription to DriveWare, because we have to use a third-party company like DocuSign to accomplish the digital signature process. But say if you were using this feature and you were going to send this to Anthony to sign, okay? All you have to do is just click on that button and click Send Document. Now you'll notice it's going to come back with all kinds of stuff and says it's successfully created. That means that it talked to the back end and it created the document for eSign. And now if Anthony goes and opens his email, you'll see that there is a document for him to sign. So he can do it from a browser, or he can do it from his phone, and it tells him this is the order number from Jay, and view the document. There is the contract, right? And you notice that it has a next button here, so the customer doesn't even need to scroll down. They can just click next, and it tells them where they need to sign. So they can go ahead and sign it right there and date it, and the document is legally binding now. They have agreed to the terms of this contract. So then you immediately will get an email that the customer has signed the document and it's executed. I just received another document here that says document 10116 was executed. So you see, these are some of the advanced features in DriveWare that you may not be using at this time, but you can implement it when you have time. You don't have to do it right away. When you have time, you can go ahead and work on that. Okay, so let's go back here. Also, last week we talked about credits, debits, and refunds. So situations where you have many transactions with one company, maybe you have a very large contract with one company, and constantly you're getting payments from them, and then in the process you may have received a payment that is larger than the actual order, or you may have they may have canceled the bus, and there's some credit due back to the customer. So last week, or a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't last week, but a few weeks ago, we talked about it, and I'm just gonna go over the highlights because I know some of you missed it. So I'm gonna go here, and we'll use this example here. I'll clone this order for the 31st. Okay, and we have a balance, and let's just say that we received the payment, and the scenario is that we received the check and they paid everything in full, and the check payments, you have to put the amount in because we want to know if there is any leftover from that check to create a credit. Okay, so let's say we received the full payment just the day before the trip. They decided that they don't want the second bus, and so they want you to delete that one. So they're going to have a credit due back to them now, right? So you see right here, it immediately shows that there's a credit. So now you'll see a new button here that says issue credit memo or refund. Now you can make a decision, or you can ask them, do you want us to refund this to you, or would you like to have a credit on file so we can later apply this to a new invoice? So if they say no, yeah, go ahead and you just issue a credit. We don't want the refund. You can just say issue credit, and we're doing a credit, and we could just put a reference number, cancel the bus, and save. So now you notice that the balance is zero, and we do have a credit issue to them, and we can send them a receipt also. We can say print. Let's do the quick print so you can see it on the screen. Okay, so you can see there's a credit memo. You cancel the bus, and it shows that the bus was canceled and the credit was applied. The balance is zero. Now there is a credit for this customer of $1,612.50 that you can leave on here. And let's say next week, a few weeks later, they will do another order with you, and they will say that we want to do the same thing for we'll just use the same date. It's okay. So now we have a new order that has a balance. And if you notice, if I go to payment, it now shows me that the customer has a credit amount. And I can select apply credit memo. So I can use that credit against this new invoice. So I can say 16/12/50, use the whole thing, and it's done. It's that simple. And I can print a receipt for them now. You notice that applied credit of 16/12/50, and then its balance is 0, and we're the balance of the credit memo is also 0 now. It's that simple. Again, we've made the process very easy. Before it was just you had to go through several screens to do this credit memo deal. It's all done for you quickly, and it's really easy. And we have a tutorial on this that's available on tv.driveware.com, and you can watch. If you missed any of this, you could click on credits and refunds, and I basically cover it in more detail. Also, as far as printing, Anthony recorded a video yesterday that talks about all this, so that's all there. Okay, let's see if there are any questions. Are there any questions on any of this? Okay. If you have any questions, I can go ahead and unmute you. Just type in the chat box. Okay, Catherine says no questions. Okay, so the recording for this video will be available also on our customer training classes. You see down here on their tv.driveware.com. If you scroll all the way down, we put the training classes and the date and the subject, what we talked about in that session, so they can be viewed at any time. If you like to go back and review something, you can do that. Okay. What else did we? Oh, we did cover a couple of other things in the last few meetings. I'm just going to touch up on them. I'm not going to get into the detail because you can always go back and watch those videos. One of them has to do with reminder calendars, because as part of the compliance, you need to stay on top of things and you need to know about all the different dates, if services are due, if you have registration on a vehicle that's coming up, medical or license that's expiring for a driver. So take a look at the reminder calendar and also the trip calendar. For some of you, the trip calendar actually works very well, because if you have less than, I believe, 10 or 12 movements a day, this trip calendar actually is very nice, because you can see all your schedules, all the different trips for that month on the trip calendar. You can actually edit them. So when you click on this all trips, you notice that you can switch to weekly, and then let's go to today. So here you can see all the trips, and if I go to that particular day, and also some of you may not be aware, but we do have under drivers the time off periods that they like to have, and you can record them so that they'll show up on the schedule. Okay, so something that you may not be um, using right now, as a feature there that allows you to record dates that the driver is requesting time off. And those will show up on the calendar as well. Okay. And these calendars are available right here under trip calendars, reminder calendars. Okay.
One thing that we noticed, because we've had a number of people ask us about those calendars, if you are a larger operation, there is a point where the number of orders you enter on a daily basis, it may make the calendar a little bit difficult to work with. We have a number of calendars that are available. We have the calendars that Jay just showed you. We have the traditional vehicle schedules. And then we also have calendars that are available through the web portal. So you can, test which ones are going to make things easiest for you. And then Jay, since we have some people here that I don't think may be familiar with the driver notification, you want to go over that quickly?
Yes, that's good. That's a good idea. The driver notification is also new in DriveWare in terms of um, being able to, from the dispatch grid, send information to the driver and notify them about the trip. Uh, we have actually recorded videos about this that talks about it in detail, uh, how to use it. But just to show you quickly, you can highlight an order from the dispatch grid, and let's just say that there is no driver assigned yet. Let's just clear the drivers. Okay. So there are no drivers assigned yet. Let's just say that all we want to do is just email the driver and give them the trip information. All you have to do is just select the driver and click send. It sends the reminder um, to that driver. So let's just say I'm going to select it, email the driver. I'm going to send it to this one, Herbert. So now Herbert will get an email from us. Um, Here it is. It has all the information about that trip and various stops and the pickup trip information, pickup address, destination. Okay. So you can email the information without having to print a trip sheet and handing them that trip sheet. You can just email it to them. That's simple from the dispatch grid. Now, sometimes you might want to say, well, are you available for this trip? Because you don't know if if they're going to be, they might be not available. They're going to be on vacation, or maybe it's just a trip, certain type of trip that you want to find out a certain driver is available. You can say, okay, I'm going to send this to Herbert and send it as a trip offer. So now Herbert will get that email and he'll go in and open that as a trip offer, and he's going to say, okay, um, here's the trip information. Are you available for this trip? And Herbert says, yes, I'm going to go ahead and accept. Now notice that there was no app involved. Basically, the driver just accepted it. And now on your dispatch grid, immediately what happened, because there's the auto refresh is on, you see that the driver is confirmed and the driver is assigned automatically to that trip. You know that that driver accepted the email from the email, accepted the trip and confirmed it. Okay.
This is another time-saving tool. It's extremely helpful if you have a number of part-time drivers. Maybe they're working for, your company, another company. The dispatcher doesn't have to pick up the phone and call, 2 or 3 people. That takes a lot of time. If he can send an email quickly to 3 drivers that he's thinking for this trip, he could save, you know, a ton of time, and then the driver just automatically updates. So then he could just go in and check his orders for that particular day, and if within an hour no one has responded, then he can go ahead and pick up the phone. But this is a great time-saving tool, and if the second driver sees the email and hits accept, he's going to get a message that this trip is no longer available.
Correct. Good point, Anthony. Yes, and then also, in addition to this, we have the automated schedule emails where the system automatically sends emails without you even needing to do this. It sends a reminder to the customer. It sends a reminder to the driver about the trip information. The latest data will be sent to both the drivers and customers. So that's another feature that can be turned on for you, and it can do that automatically. But of course, you have to remember that it's kind of embedded and it sends it to everybody. And we have some customers that we've enabled this feature for, and they love it because our system 24/7 is running and sending those emails and reminding. Just think of how much time you're saving, because you don't have to get up in the middle of the night and deal with a customer looking for a driver's phone number. That by itself is great value. So those are some of the things you might want to implement, but slowly, getting to the features one at a time, one module at a time. Another thing that we've implemented is requesting customer feedback. Say this trip is completed, and we want to find out from the customer, how was your experience with the driver? So now, when the customer opens the email, the customer will see this feedback page, and in the feedback page email, there'll be 3 faces. Well, we were happy, we were okay with this, and we were unhappy. Well, we were unhappy. Why we were not happy? So the information can be recorded. Driver was rude and late. Don't want this driver. So they can type that from their phone and on the road anywhere, and you get an email immediately, and then you will also be able to see this information under the customer feedback for that trip. So this customer gave this driver a score of 1 and put in some notes that this driver was rude, late, so what's going on with your trips, and you can get feedbacks from the customers easily and save it in the same record. It's all being saved in the same place. Okay. Again, to recap, we have lots of features. I think what needs to happen is, if you're a new company, if you're new to DriveWare, don't get overwhelmed by all the different components. Just focus on what we talked about, Anthony, the basics. The basics, which most of you that are in this meeting today are already here. You've already done this. You've been using the system for many years. Some of you, you've done all this. Now you need to start implementing some of the add-on modules and put them to use so that you can save time and money. I would start with the credit card processing. Implement the Elevon option. It's proven, it works, it's cheap. It's through Costco, so Costco is giving you these lowest rates at 1.99. Okay. As far as existing or new customers to Driver, um, I would focus on the basics first, and then um, not worry about all the add-on modules. You can do those um, after you're fully online with the system. Okay, let's see if there are any questions. Anthony, did you want to add anything else? I
No,
think
I
we're
think
kind of we've covered
quite a bit.
everything, and we'll be uploading this recording soon, so it'll be available to all of our users that couldn't make it. Um, I think we've covered a lot, and there's some things that you need to look at in terms of um, what would you like to implement, if any. You might be happy with what you have, and that's fine. But if there's any area here that you like to work on and implement, go ahead and let us know, and we'll help you with it. Catherine, I will resolve that coloring issue for you quickly. It should be something simple. I'll find out once I look at the code. Um, I have to just look at your data uh, here locally so I can see what's going on, and I'll let you know. Thank you for attending
Yeah,
today, and thank you,
and
Catherine. Okay.
I'd
Bye-bye.
like to just say that many of the changes that you see in DriveWare come from our customers' suggestions. So if there's anything, any area where you see that could use some improvement or a feature that you'd like to see, let us know. And if it's something that we can implement right away, or that would be beneficial to all of our users, those are the kind of things that float to the top and the changes that we make in the program. Um, and we do appreciate your suggestions. We appreciate you taking the time and joining us today.
Yes, thank you, everyone.